What up? Mully is back and the Diamonds Are Forever series lives on. Today I've got the first of 3 DPP OU matches I had on Showdown back in 2014. I'm going up against cloud1106. For those new to DPP OU, keep in mind that there is no team preview since it didn't exist in the Nintendo DS games. But before we get into the battle here, you can see on the screen that I'm going to be leading with Hariyama and my opponent has a Machamp lead. Hariyama is not a common lead at all, but anyone with some knowledge of DPP OU knows that lead Hariyama beats any lead Machamp set 1v1, so we're going to see if my opponent knows this or not. And this team I'm using is also based around Nasty Plot Celebi. But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I go for Fake Out and he stays in. Since Hariyama has Guts, a +1 close combat will knock out this lead Machamp cleanly. So I go for it and he's going to stay in and I end up getting first blood. And he's going to send Skarmory out on the free switch. Now here I'm actually going to decide to switch out. Now Skarmory and Hariyama can 2-hit KO each other if Skarmory is especially defensive. But if he isn't, Leftovers is going to put him out of range of close combat, being a 2-hit KO. And also Skarmory's faster anyway. So I go to Zapdos, he Whirlwinds, and Hariyama gets dragged back in. And here I'm basically forced to go back to Zapdos again because I'm expecting my opponent to either Whirlwind again or set up spikes. He's not going to do either of those though, and he's actually going to end up going for the Brave Bird, which is a bit questionable, especially given the rest of his team, which you guys will see in a little bit. But this is a Subaru Zapdos set I'm running. I was running Discharge over Thunderbolt, and I believe at the time I was just testing out Discharge. Anyway, he does switch out and he's going to reveal Metagross, and I get the paralysis here right off the bat, which is great. That basically gives me a free chance to set up a sub here, so I'm going to go for it. And he's immediately going to get the full para. So I'm off to a really good start. And because of that, I just decide to go for the 3-hit KO with Discharge. Now my opponent is going to break through here on this turn. And he's going to be able to fire off a Meteor Mash and hit to break the sub. But in the end, he's going to decide to sack the Metagross just to get a free switch. The damage he was taking from Discharge shows that there's no EV investment in bulk, but we never got to see what type of set it was. It was probably Choice Band because Zapdos outran it, but I can't really say for sure. But he's going to reveal Dragonite on the free switch, so this is looking like a standard Dragon Steel core that my opponent's running. I decided to reveal Heatran since I didn't think my opponent would go for Earthquake or Superpower in case I stayed in with Zapdos. And he's going to show Fire Blast and I get the Flash Fire boost. And here I just decided to just put my foot on my opponent's neck. Things are going so well for me and I know a water type's coming in because usually Dragon Steel is paired with a water type. That and it's DPP. So I double switch to Celebi to scare him out. And sure enough, I nail it. I'm running a Nasty Plot Celebi with a little bit of bulk, but I'm also running Recover. And I'm actually not running Grass Type on this Celebi. I have Psychic and Earth Power. So I played a bit scared there and went for Earth Power just in case my opponent decided to stay in. And he went for Ice Beam, which revealed the Life Orb Starmie. Now I'm going to have to dance around this Life Orb Starmie since Ice Beam back then basically meant you were running Rapid Spin with Water Stab and Bolt Beam coverage. So I go to my own Starmie to take the Ice Beam and then I double back to Hariyama to take the Thunderbolt and threaten the Fake Out since it 1-hit KO Starmie at that range. And my opponent knows this and he decides to reveal Gengar here on the switch. Gengar's a pretty big threat to this team if he manages to get a sub up, so I can't switch here and I'm gonna have to sack Hariyama. I stay in and I believe I just went for payback as anything would do a lot of damage to his team except for Skarm. But he goes for Focus Blast and hits, knocking Hariyama out, and I'm going to reveal Starmie on the free switch. This Starmie is similar to Celebi. I am running a Life Orb set, but instead of the standard 3 attacks with Rapid Spin, I'm running Recover with Dual Stab. And again, this was for better neutral coverage against the metagame back then. There's no way my opponent was expecting this, and he stays in with Gengar and gets clocked by Psychic. The crit absolutely 110% did not matter. But he goes back to his own Starmie. I'm gonna have to start dancing around this Life Force Starmie again, so I go to Celebi on the Thunderbolt, and then I decide to sack Celebi to the Ice Beam so I could reveal my last, which is a Dugtrio. Now, I could have just gone to Dugtrio straight up if I was a Savage, but I decided to play it safe. Also, despite being the main sweeper, it would have taken too much effort to try and force Celebi to sweep his team, as it was too low on health. And I figured I can win with what I have left as long as I play correctly, but I'm gonna EQ. My opponent brings Dragonite back in. He reveals Extreme Speed, and I have a little bit of investment in HP to survive Mach Punch and Fernate, but I was fully expecting to be knocked out here, so I just went for Rock Slide, but I live, and there's no Life Orb recoil. So now I'm thinking, wait, a Dragonite with Fire Blast and Extreme Speed with no Life Orb that wasn't in the lead spot? This has to be a Dragon Dance set, and if it is, then he isn't running Earthquake, so this man cannot touch Heatran. Since I just figured out my win condition, I sacked Dugtrio, which was actually an Expert Belt set with Sucker Punch, which I could have gone for, but I didn't want to risk him getting free Dragon Dances. But I bring in Heatran. I went for the customary late game Stealth Rock, which you should never ever do. And then I go boom. And his last is Skarmory. I have Zapdos in the back. Interestingly enough, the Stealth Rock damage Skarm takes does put my opponent in range for Discharge to one-hit KO him, which it actually wouldn't have normally. But yeah, that's going to be the game. I managed to take it. And if you guys like what you saw, hit that like button just below the video. I kind of wanted to ease my way back into narrating a battle since it has been a while. So the pace is a little bit slower than what I would normally like, but this is the first one. Definitely still hit the like button if you guys still enjoyed it. It goes a long way when you do. It helps me out immensely. If you didn't like it, then hit the dislike button, but let me know in the comments as to why, other than maybe the reason I just stated. But if you guys don't want to miss the future stuff coming down the pipe, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Links to all the social clubs I hang out at are in the description box below. Twitter, Google+, all that good stuff. Anyway, stay tuned for more, and until next time, I'm out. Take care, guys. Peace.